very big night for the young men waiting and hoping to have their name called and to start their careers as an AFL footballer. The Brisbane Lions have chosen Hugh McCluggage, Jared Berry,
Cedric Cox,
Alex Witherden, Jacob Allison.
Good time to be the Brisbane Lions.
We look forward to seeing what they can do next year.
Yeah, I've been in and around the football game for over 20 years now with the AFL Victoria and now the Brisbane Lions. Been at the club 6 years now. For the last few years been national recruiting manager. Have a small but really hard-working team where we work with. Andrew Farrell works as my assistant. Leon Harris has come on board this year. Leon's been a fantastic acquisition to the club. Ashley Drake is full-time and works in association with our Brisbane Lions Academy. And then we have our state league staff, David Dunbar and Shane Rogers. So yeah, there's a team around the country that work really diligently to prepare for the draft each year. We've sort of been working with and around these boys for about 3 years. So we go and have a look at the National Under 15 Carnival, which quite a few of them start to go through. It's a school-based program. Then the main program for us is the National Under 16 Championships, which is really the start of the AFL pathway. It's really important for us to get a gauge on them. Some boys aren't around at that age, but others, such as Alex Witherden, really show some ability at that age. And then through injury for him, which he had a broken leg and some other areas, it's just good to get a base at a young age so you can start to see their development. Other boys like Hugh McCluggage was a later developer and wasn't involved in the pathway at that age. So everyone comes through at different ages. But we put a lot of time and emphasis into 16s. We also go back and watch that vision at their top age year, just so we start to get a picture of maybe their development and where they've come from. And particularly with our local Queensland boys, we try to see their pathway through the academy. So we definitely spend additional time on them, watching them through their academy games and leading up to 15, 16s and through their 17th and 18th seasons. We start off in early to mid-January and head across to America for the AFL Academy Tour. So we have a couple of weeks over there working with the best 35 kids in the country. From there we have a little break, and sort of mid-February the states have their state academy programs, which really comprise skills day, practice match program and some interviews. So WA, Victoria and SA do that, and that more or less gets us through to the start of the practice match series. So we have our scouts out and about through that practice match program, watching all the state league clubs play, and we sort of start to develop a watch list from there. And then really from now on to the start of the year, you're really just trying to hone in on that watch list, starting to get some strengths and weaknesses and where they fit in the draft pool, and really prepare well for the start of the national championships, which is, if you like, really the big end of the season where the best boys play against the best boys across a 6-week program.
This week's NAB AFL Draft Combine, what's it like for you this week?
Yeah, thanks, Cal. It's just a great opportunity for us to meet the boys again, just see how they go in this environment, and also for the rest of the footy club staff, the coach, the football manager, our list manager. Just a really good opportunity for them to come down and have some involvement. As a recruiting team, we've seen all these boys, we've been to their homes, we've met their parents. So for us, there's a few little areas that we want to tick off on, but it's really important for the other guys to sort of have an involvement at this period.
I think that's just the kind of person I am with my leadership. I'm pretty outgoing and a pretty open person and really easy person to talk to, at least I think, and I think I'm quite confident speaking in front of other people.
How much emphasis do you place on testing results?
Oh, it's I suppose it's important, but it's a small part of the end pie, if you like. Sometimes just how they act and how they participate and their effort levels, but you have a certain expectation, I suppose, going by prior data, how players will finish up. So if they can exceed that, it shows they've done some work. Look, it's very difficult for some of the boys who have had final series. They've played last Saturday, so you have to be realistic about where everyone's at, really.
Leading up to today was pretty daunting for most players, so yeah, I was pretty nervous.
Happy with your performances so far?
Yeah, overall, obviously there's a few more tests to go over the next day, but yeah, hoping to go well in that as well. So
obviously, the part of the Lions Academy. Do you hope that they pick you up? Do you think they will?
hopefully, it'll be ideal to stay in Brisbane, but in saying that, I'd play anywhere just to be on an AFL list. So you don't really know till draft night whether your name gets called out or not. So yeah, really hoping to test well over the next few days, and whatever happens, happens.
Mate, you're confident you can sort of come straight into AFL and have an impact pretty quickly?
Yeah, I'm reasonably confident. I mean, I still have to, earn the respect of my teammates and coaches. So, yeah, my first priority will be just earning respect. So,
we always thought the draft had a nice range of players, and especially some nice players who can go in through the midfield. I think we've mentioned previously that it is a goal for us to start to add some more depth to players that can go through that. So for us, we're really excited about what might be involved for us through this period.
You've got pick one. Are you set on who you might take there?
Not at this stage. I think there's probably 3, 4, perhaps 5 boys at the moment that will head through this period, watch a bit more vision, catch up with them all again, get through trade most importantly, because post-trade we may not even have pick one. So once we get through all that, then we'll really be able to hone in on where it's sort of going to be finished.
Cam Rayner and Luke Davies-Uniacke seem the front runners. Is that fair to say?
I think they've both had really good years. Not only really good years this year, but they've been top end players for quite a few years. I think Luke, since the under-15s when he won the medal, that's been a really player that's always been at that end. There's a few other boys in there. There's Paddy Dow, there's Adam Shearer, there's Andrew Brayshaw. So look, there are some boys in that end that all have plenty of talent. So yeah, we'll get through all this sort of period and start to really hone in on that sort of top end pick.